Insider. Music, dramas, movies, musicals, YouTubers, and more. Anyone who's anyone in their field. The Insider of the bunch joins us every Wednesday to share insight of their world on Insider. It is going to be the ultimate girl talk giggle fest for today. Just a little bit of a warning for our listeners. I have the very beautiful Mellor Company CEO, Julia Mellor, in the studio with me. Hello.
Good morning, afternoon, whatever it is. It's so nice to be here.
I love your accent.
Oh, yeah, well, I'll lay it on a little bit thicker then. Because I got to say, it does go in and out. But if we talk about Australia, I will become as bushy as you like.
Wow. I have to say that I love people with accents, especially if you have one from Australia. It's just super sexy.
It's a win.
It's a win. All right. So I'm really honored that you are here in the studio with us, Julia. You are just a ball of sunshine already. I love your energy. So I did introduce you as the CEO of the Mellor Company.
Yep, that's right.
That's a lot of Korean and English all in one sentence.
That is.
So what is your company like? What do you do? Like all this fun stuff.
All this fun stuff. I'm actually a specialist in Korean traditional alcohol. I am the first specialist in this field. And I kind of founded this company called the Mellor Company for education and consulting and basically promotions for Korean traditional alcohol.
Right. And so when I was introducing this to our listeners, I feel that in a lot of countries, like I feel like more European or Asian countries, they take a lot of pride in the brewing of alcohols.
Right.
More so in Korea as well. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, just I'm from the States and we just kind of think as alcohol, and it's a very dry topic. It's like I feel that whiskey has kind of gained the maybe like the image or stereotype of a lot of like, time and effort and go. But like,
skill.
Right. But then I know that just because our grandmas were able to wipe up a batch in the backyard doesn't mean that there's like less scientific aspects going into it.
Oh, totally. Yes.
So, I mean, living in Korea, it's so easy for us to buy makgeolli or soju or just any type of traditional alcohol in the supermarkets for a very cheap price, but it's a very deep process.
Oh, yes. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I fell into this industry.
Okay.
Because when I first got here, first of all, being Australian, big wine drinker, but I've been in Korea for 15 years now.
Nice.
And when I first got here, wine was so expensive. So I had to look local for what's available. And you're absolutely right. There's so much soju and makgeolli that's available for cheap prices. But there's a whole segment of this traditional drink and these categories that you don't see very conveniently.
Right.
You don't see it in convenience stores. You can't even really buy it in supermarkets. But it is this rich tradition of brewing with craft and skill and time and effort that is really just making its way back into the world. So Korea hasn't really had the highest reputation for having top shelf alcohol. But in the last 10 years or so, it has just exploded. Returning to this world of craft.
Right. And I feel that you made a really great point that, for alcohol, I feel that it was always... Because Korea did really grow fast in many different eras. Even if we go back to like the Joseon Dynasty and places like that, Korea has always been the people that like to move. We like to evolve. We like to, get things done.
Yes.
So the 빨리빨리 has been in our roots for years.
Pretty much ingrained.
Right.
That's not going anywhere.
Right. And so I feel that, like our alcohol has been something that needed to be accessible. It needed to be cheap and it kind of needed to get the job done.
Right.
In a way.
Right. Function. It was very much that connection. We say, most people that come to Korea for the first time, we talk about soju and what is the role of soju. And it basically has 3 jobs in life.
Right.
It's to either celebrate when you're on a high or to commiserate when you're on a low or to get to know somebody faster. Those are the pathways to soju in a lot of ways. So yes, it was about that social lubricant and that function and bringing people together and bonding and all that kind of stuff. But in recent years, as Korean food has elevated, so too has the alcohol scene in terms of its pairing abilities, its artisanship, I should say. It's a whole different game now.
And I feel it. I really do. And the reason is because I never realized how simple you could put what soju's purpose was for a meal. But it's true. I feel that in the States, because I am from the U.S., drinking is on tap.
Yep.
It's very independent.
Yes, good point.
Buying somebody a drink is either you're trying to hit on them or start a conversation.
That's right.
Or you're a hitman.
Loosen up. Oh, well, one of the three of the usual.
Thank you, all those action movies.
That's real life, right?
Right. But in Korea, and it's something that I've always tried to explain, and I feel that unless you come to Korea, it's very hard to understand. But our alcohol is not so much about getting drunk or get buzzed or what the service, like the purpose of what it's normally doing does.
Yes.
It's more of like, to break the ice, to get to know people, to get to know yourself.
To bond, and that's why company dinners and all that kind of thing. It's always, soju's always there and present at almost all these times. And actually one thing that I noticed when I first got here, I always thought it was interesting and I was kind of jealous that everyone would be sitting around and drinking together as friends. It's not a way to sort of stand around and meet someone new.
Right.
It's kind of, you go out with your group of people and they're always having such a blast. They're always cheersing every 10 seconds. But in Australia, for example, like you're saying, like we'd head up to a bar to meet someone new or to just mingle and very independently.
Right.
So I love the Korean way of getting closer to a group of people over drinks.
Right. And like, I feel that, like Australia and the States kind of is the same. Even if you and I were going out as girlfriends and having some fun, we would drink independently. I would have my own drink. You would have your own drink. We wouldn't necessarily drink the same alcohol. But in Korea, we tend to just go with everybody else.
Go with what's on tap. Go with what's in the house.
So Samantha's dropping by through our V Live as well. Samantha's also from Down Under.
Down Under.
And if you have any questions for Julia, like, from where she's from originally and all those Down Under questions too, you can send those in as well. So you can I kind of ask why you moved to Korea, or were you visiting Korea all those 15 years ago?
No, all those 15 years ago. Yes. I'm aged. Actually, it was very much just taking a year off. I finished university in Australia. And, at that time, a lot of people were taking a year off before going into the workforce and things like that. And, teaching English and that in Asia, certainly actually in Japan and China was very popular for Australians. So I just wanted to do something different. And I thought, you know what? I've grown up moving around all the world, but I've never been to Asia. So it was a great opportunity to just, have a year off and to go and see and explore some things. But I just fell in love with Korea. It was so comfortable and it was so exciting. And every day I was learning something new. I just came to work and to teach. But 1 year turned into 2, turned into 5, turned into, hey, look, I'm still here.
Yeah, our Korean Americans kind of call Korea the black hole. And the reason is because kind of everybody does the same thing. They come for just a year, either to teach, maybe to work in broadcast or visit family or do some part-time jobs, and then
gets its claws into you.
Yeah, it just links in and it just sticks to you, and then you just find yourself here buying a home.
You blink and you're a resident.
You're a resident, you're getting married, you're settling down, and that just kind of happens. So in the years that you've been here, I mean, obviously you said that when you first came, you fell in love with Korea. Can I ask you what your major was before you got here? Because I feel that it would be very different than what you're doing now.
If you had asked me 20 years ago that this is where I would be in life, absolutely not, because I'm very science-based now. I work in fermentation and science. But my background is in international relations and journalism. I wanted to be a journalist and a diplomat. And I was always very interested in politics. And can I say I dodged a bullet? Because the way it is now, I think I would have had a very different lifestyle. And I'm really glad I didn't go down the politics road, frankly. I took the alcohol road instead.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was just this way. I mean, Korea to me is still such a country that you can do anything in. If you've got a dream, if you've got an idea, then Korea is the place that you can really make it happen. And there's so much opportunity. So the way I got here was basically just following one thing after another, one leading to another. But yeah, absolutely unrelated to what I studied
Where
at
you
university.
studied it. Okay, so you said you had a love for wine, and now it kind of led up to you having your own company and all this other stuff. So when you first got to Korea and you were seeing all these people having like these drinks together and soju was there, was soju normally your drink of choice, or was it makgeolli? Was it 맥주? Was it 폭탄주? Like what was
Is there a all of the above box I can tick there?
Of course.
I'm open to everything. And actually, to be honest, I mean, now I don't really drink soju very much at all because soju is a distilled beverage. Like it's a distilled category. But I found that the first time I drank soju, and even now, my hangovers were pretty rough for, the green bottle stuff that you get just in general. I'm much more of a makgeolli person because I like fermented beverages. Wine is fermented, beer is fermented, but my selection and my choices are very different now. Obviously, I brew my own, but all of the people that the breweries that I drink from, they're all artificial sweetener free, they're slow fermentation, they're just better crafted products.
Wow. And I think we're going to have to try to get into that because I've been hearing some rumors that there's difference in how that it's fermented with using different things that gives us a different outcome. Not just like palate, but like hangover wise. So I'm going to ask that a little bit later. But when it comes to your friends, because obviously in the years that you've lived here, when friends are coming to visit, families coming to visit before COVID hit.
Yes.
What is their initial reaction to Korean alcohol? Was it very similar to yours, or do they kind of go be like, what is this?
Much more, what is this? Okay. Because, and I totally understand that. Soju, I mean, I remember actually one year I bought a bottle of North Korean soju for my dad because, he's also military, politics, all those things. And I sent it to him or left it in Australia, and I didn't give him any instructions about how to drink it. So his assumption was that it was wine. Because we call it rice wine, this misnomer that soju is rice wine. So he poured it into a wine glass and poured it as the amount that he would drink for a wine. And I got a message from my mum the next day and said, what on earth did you give me? Your father was just not like a normal evening. So that was a first introduction to, okay, make sure that you tell people how it should be drunk because it's very different. They need supervision.
Soju is not to be drank in any type of big glass.
Let's not call it wine. I think is the key.
Right.
So that was an interesting, and also that was particularly high alcohol content being North Korean soju.
Probably.
But also makgeolli is a funny one because for a first timer, when you look at it, you think, oh, okay, it's yogurt or it's milky. There's a disconnect between dairy and the fact that it's actually just a cloudy, like a hazy IPA or a hazy beer in a way. So there sometimes can be a disconnect for somebody that visually doesn't quite understand what they're expecting or they have different expectations. But I have to say, and I've been doing tasting tours for first timers for many years now. And if you are introduced to the right kind of makgeolli, I get an almost 100% success rate in terms of people say that they like makgeolli.
Okay.
But it has to be the right one.
True. I do second that. As well, because I feel that for even Koreans, if you ask a lot of Koreans what their preference of alcohol is, makgeolli doesn't tend to be one of them.
Right.
Because they had a really bad first impression of the drink.
Those memories.
And I feel the reason why it's kind of dangerous and why we say it's dangerous is because of the palate. It's sweet.
Yes, it can be very sweet.
Depending on the type that you're drinking. And so a lot of girls, especially if they're starting off like in their college years, it becomes the first drink they drink. They're just like, yay!
It's your entry level. It's so easy and it's great. But of course, as you know, the anatomy of a hangover, a lot of the time a hangover comes from dehydration, and sugar dehydrates you. So the more sugar that you drink, so anything that has a high sugar content is going to give you a higher chance of a hangover if you don't hydrate. So
all you cocktail loving people.
I know, just watch it, right? I mean, that's why that's how it happens. But also, the cheaper varieties, they're fermented very quickly. So when you ferment something quickly, you get all these off flavors that also will give you a hangover. So many people swear off makgeolli because their first time they get really have a great time and have a wonderful day. But the next day, you've got that dehydration, you've got that hangover that makes you think, oh, this is going to give me a hangover all the time.
Right. And you blame the alcohol.
You do. You blame that because you don't know any better. You think, oh, well, this drink gives me a hangover. But I always say, if somebody says they don't like makgeolli, they just haven't met the right makgeolli yet.
That's a great way to think about it. All right, fam, we've got a lot to ask Julia today. There's just so much to talk about our company. I've been reading up on her company and I hear that there's some really exciting things too. So we're going to ask that as well. If you have any more questions for her, because I see a few that are coming in, continue to send those in. Today, yes, we're going to be talking about the awesome traditional culture of Korea, that is sur. So stay tuned for that. And of course, our songs are amazing because our producer is amazing. We have Kisum with her track Surya. Let's drink up, and more of our insiders coming up after this. It is Wednesday here on K-Poppin. As you continue to listen to Arirang Radio, we have an awesome insider in the studio with us for today. She is the CEO of the Sur company. Julia Mellor is in the studio, and she's from Down Under. So our listeners from Down Under are dropping by with some questions. So it was a little bit of a pun and joke intended. What part of Australia are you from? I hope you don't say Sydney.
I did. Thankfully, I'm sorry. No, not from Sydney. And I may have had a joke and said Sydney Schmidney. No offense, Sydney-siders. I love Sydney, but no, I'm not from Sydney.
Okay.
But I grew up moving around a lot. So mostly I'm from Brisbane.
Okay.
But I come from an army family, so we moved around many cities. So
Army brats.
Army brats unite.
Army brats unite.
Loved it. But yeah, Brisbane was where I went to university. It's where I went to boarding school. So I identify that as my hometown.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, so we have Jane saying, I've always thought that Isak was very energetic, but I feel that Julia is super energetic, which is a good thing. And we have a few questions coming in. So we're going to get into your company a little bit more. Vicky is very curious about your favorite type of soju flavor because our listener who is in the Latin Americas recently just found the grape flavored soju. And right now it's booming. There's like grape flavored beers. There's a lot of sweet flavored, very cocktail like type of alcohol on the market at the moment. I think it's been booming for the past couple of years.
It has. It started here. It definitely had its moment, its flash in the pan here. But it's very much more popular outside of Korea than it is here.
Right.
Because people are a bit more purist here, I think, in terms of what they want in a soju. And actually, to be honest, soju is something we eat with food. It's a dinner time drink. So the sweeter it is, the harder it is to actually enjoy the food and the drink together. So it's not that popular here anymore. Overseas, yes, the flavored sojus, I think they're very dangerous because they don't taste like alcohol at all. And if you're into sweet drinks and sweet flavors, and they're great. But for me personally, I love traditional flavor infused straight distillation. So back in the day, in the Joseon Dynasty and beyond, there were lots of recipes that used natural ingredients to infuse. So for example, there's one of my favorite sojus has cinnamon and vanilla and azalea flowers, and it's a beautiful combination of flavors and aromas.
I bet.
It's like Christmas in a glass. So it's those kinds of flavors and infusions that I prefer. I'm not a big fan of the sort of more sweeter versions, the syrupy ones, but that's just because also I'm a hardcore drinker. If you're in booze, generally the more booze you drink, the less sweet it becomes.
And the higher tolerance.
That is true too.
Okay, so you did tell us that you do have a company, and we've kind of built up your story and to get to know you and how you so how does coming to just living in Korea, yes, I get, because I do know a lot of Korean Americans or foreigners who have taught here and they just kind of have kept in the same, locomotion of just keeping doing the whole thing day in and day out.
Do what you do, yep.
But from teaching to sur,
yeah,
a bit of a different ideal.
Yeah.
So what sparked that? Did one drinking fest turn into an investment, or like?
Yeah, it was an odd leap. It was a chance and a risk.
Okay.
But for me, it was always a no-brainer. This is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Because as I said, when I first started drinking Seoul or Korean alcohol, I wasn't really that in love with it. I just saw it as a function and thought it was fun, but didn't really see it beyond, what it could be.
Right.
Until I had a tasting of quality coffee handmade makgeollis that was given by actually the professor of the academy that I teach at right now, which is a brewing academy. It's an academy for teaching alcohol. And so I had this tasting, and I tasted these alcohols, and I was shocked. So I went home and I Googled makgeolli to find out more information, and there was nothing. There was no English information. There was a Wikipedia article that said makgeolli is drunken rice. Was the description, which didn't actually clear anything up for me at all.
Right.
But, I realized that there was no information. So I asked the professor at the time, why is there no more information in English about this? Because I would have loved to have made better choices years ago if I knew. And he just simply said, well, if you're not busy, why don't you do it? Why don't you be the provider of information? And I thought, well, I'm not busy. Okay. And back then I didn't speak Korean very well. And so the transition really was, I spent 5 years studying Sir in Korean, because all of the academies and all the resources are only in Korean language. We're still the only English resource of this industry. So visiting breweries, hanging out with people in the industry, studying formally. And then converting it to a business. But it was that conversation that I could see the potential, because there's so much potential in this industry that hasn't been tapped yet.
Right. And the reason you bring this up is, yes, you're a foreigner from Australia, but even in Korea, I feel that, within the past 5 to 10 years, the younger generation of Koreans are really starting to tap back and be like, we have no idea about our ancestors.
Yes.
There's a lot, and we're seeing a lot more domestic titles for beers too.
Yes,
we've got
yes.
Halasan mountain beers and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel that, I think it's intriguing, and for us here, me too. A lot of the information that we have is even hard Korean, the very old text Korean that you probably had to study.
I did. And thankfully, so a lot of the surviving texts and the surviving information we have about Seoul is in old Korean. It's in Hanja and things like that. So we do have, some professors that have translated old Korean into new modern Korean. But even then, I had to learn words like hyomo and hyoso and all these things which are yeast and enzymes and things like that you don't learn that in a class for Korean. You have to learn a whole different language for fermentation and distillation. But for me, I loved it, and I just wanted to know more about it. But also because I'm not Korean, I'm very aware that being the first resource in English, I have to be 120% correct on my information, because as information gets passed down, naturally it becomes more diluted and sometimes incorrect. So I have to be more accurate being the first to provide that information.
Right. Okay, so this is so amazing, and I love all the information you're giving us. Okay, so your company itself, if any of our listeners were not able to go online and search you at the moment, if you were to tell us what the sort of company is, are you a brewery? Am I buying alcohol from you? Are you teaching classes? Are you an academy? What are you?
What are me? Can we go back to that D, all of the above one again?
All of the above.
This is the challenge, and let me tell you, anyone out there that's thinking of starting their own business or doing something, and again, I'm the first business to do this in English. So the problem with that, the great opportunity is there, but the problem is also I do almost everything. So right now, coronavirus has changed our business model quite dramatically. But we are mostly an education and consulting and promotions company for Korean alcohol. So we do brewing classes, we do tasting tours and brewery tours. That was pre-COVID. Now our online classes. Now we teach brewing science online. But mostly I actually help other people open breweries overseas. I believe in the future of Korean alcohol not being exported for makgeolli. You can't export makgeolli because it's fresh.
It is,
It's not pasteurized, right? But you can export soju. You can export spirit strength soju into the cocktail bars, into the industries around the world, because gin is huge, vodka is huge, soju can be huge too if it's positioned that way. But makgeolli has to be made locally. It's like terroir with wine. You want to enjoy it close to where it's made. So that's right now the biggest part of my company is helping others open breweries around the world.
All right. Now you're pretty much talking about makgeolli in general, and I know that when it comes to makgeolli, honestly, if you have the resources, you can make it in your backyard.
Yes.
If you have the resources, you can do this. It might taste different, even though you use the same ingredients.
Yeah.
But one thing is duruk. Now, can somebody in Australia, if getting their hands on duruk, can they make it? I mean,
150%. Yes.
Okay,
yes, you can. And yes, you should. Yes, you should. Because let me say, like, the makgeolli that you make at home is so different. It's so much better, actually. It's more naturally produced. There's higher alcohol percentage, but it's also sweeter and more complex. And you can get nuruk in Australia. You can get nuruk at a lot of places around the world, and there's a growing demand actually for accessing nuruk. So more people are supplying, including myself. I'm looking at exporting nuruk, and because I teach online, and many of my customers and clients want to learn about it, then that's the future. So it's so easy. I can't even express to you how easy it is to make a simple makgeolli recipe.
Okay, so I know that years back, especially domestically, beer making kits
Yes.
were extremely popular.
Yes.
You had this like little plastic keg type of an ordeal. They gave you like the enzymes and the yeast and stuff like that in the package, and then they're like, do this, do this, do this.
No fail.
Yeah, sit it in the corner and you got beer.
Right. Very attractive.
Exactly. But I do remember a lot of people were doing this, and it wasn't so much of like a YouTube trend. It was more like, I want to try to make this at home.
Right.
Now, these days in Korea, because of COVID, a lot of people are starting to do a lot of meal kits.
Yep.
DIY kits. Korea has never really been that kind of a country.
Not a kit country, I would say.
Not really, but I feel that it has grown. So has your company also started to jump on the bandwagon and maybe start providing like these makgeolli making kits that we can purchase?
Our company, not so much.
Okay.
Because while I think kits are great, and I actually support and help to export other companies' kits, because some breweries will make kits as well as part of their brewery products, I am more in depth into the science of making it from scratch.
Okay.
So actually, my online course is basically my opinion about making makgeolli. It's like, if you can cook, you can make makgeolli. It's not the same technique as beer and wine. Beer and wine, sometimes you need more complex equipment. You need a little bit more science knowledge. And yes, you do need some scientific knowledge for makgeolli. But honestly, if you can steam rice, you can make makgeolli.
Right.
So my kit life, I'm not as interested in kits, because I want people to learn, the slow way, the traditional way. And
Kind of
that
like having
theory.
a sourdough starter in your kitchen.
Do you know what? It's so similar to sourdough. And
Really?
actually, yes. The difference is that sourdough, it's a mother culture, right? And you
Right.
grow your mother culture and you feed it like a little baby and you keep it for a long time. Nuruk is your starter culture to make makgeolli. And once it's gone, it's gone. You have to keep replenishing your nuruk. But it's this wild fermentation. There's so many things going on that's so exciting to watch. And it's gratifying. Like, actually, not just so, fermentation is so big around the world. And fermentation is the future
Right.
of health, of sustainability, and just, being better.
Exactly.
Just generally just being better. And that's where I want makgeolli to be. That's where I'm trying to position this common thing that you can do. If you can make kimchi, you can make sauerkraut, you can do sourdough, you can do makgeolli as well.
Which I feel that a lot of people have been doing during COVID.
Yes.
I've been seeing a lot more sourdough. I even got on the bandwagon and started a sourdough starter.
I think actually, was it in Australia? There was actually a shortage on flour
For a while, because
of
everybody-
sourdough.
I see
Every
it.
man and his dog wanted to make sourdough.
Exactly. Well, I mean, because you're at home and you can actually feed it.
That's right.
And you can
watch
maintain it. Yeah, and you can maintain it.
It's like growing a plant.
Right. With a little more watering and flour than the
Which is
plant
probably why my
itself.
plants died.
Yeah. So when it comes to starting off a process, so if I'm to take a course with you and on makgeolli and to make it at home, from start to finish with your help,
Yes.
how long does it take for me to have my first glass of actual makgeolli?
So to learn the process, so we have an intro class online that is basically roughly about 2 or 3 hours of content, of videos, and just getting you to the process to know what to do. But from beginning to end, so you wash rice, you soak rice, you steam it, and then you mix it with water and nuruk. That whole process takes about 6 hours, maybe 6 to 7 hours. And then you ferment it. You let it go. You sit and let it ferment. It will be ready earliest about a week. You can filter it a little bit earlier if you want something fizzier or a bit lighter or lower in alcohol percentage, but it's pretty quick.
Oh, wow.
The more complex recipes take a month or 2 months or 3 months, and sometimes you can age the process out. There's so much creativity. But you yourself can then infuse with all these different things. You can add fruits. You can add, we're talking about cinnamon. I've made a cinnamon banana makgeolli before. There's all these things that you can do. You've got freedom of creativity to create your flavors in as little as a week, but definitely longer.
Now, you're saying that if we kind of leave it, the alcohol content goes up. Does all alcohol do that?
It depends. The alcohol content is very dependent on yeast, and yeast actually don't like alcoholic conditions. So in fermentation, yeast eats sugar. That makes alcohol. It makes two things, ethanol and CO2. So when you feed yeast, it makes alcohol, right? So that's why wine, sourdough. If you leave your sourdough, it does smell a bit boozy, actually. So wine, all you got to do is add yeast to the grape juice. But bazoom, you've got wine. Not great wine, but you've got wine. For makgeolli and rice-based alcohols, you need to use an enzyme, which is in nuruk, that changes rice to sugar, and then the yeast changes the sugar to alcohol. But the yeast in nuruk is very strong and robust, and it can survive alcohol conditions up to 21% alcohol.
Wow.
Whereas beer and wine, the yeast strains aren't as strong. So when they hit that alcohol percentage of 12, 14, 15, they die because they can't live in alcoholic conditions. But Korean wild yeast, they're pretty robust, and they can survive very high. So it depends on your technique, but it's also dependent on the strength of your yeast.
That's so cool. And normally, if that was in like a science class, I would be thinking my teacher is crazy. But hearing it over something that is so commonly able to access,
yes,
I think I think we should start teaching science and fermentation with alcohol.
I have no problems with that. Let me know.
Cool.
I'll help out.
That would be super cool. Apparently, Hannah was asking, is there such thing as strawberry sur? Because I want to try it.
Oh, yeah. You know what? There's not on the market. You're not going to find that in a store. But if you make your base sur, so what you can do with strawberries, and I have done this before, what you want to do is after you've filtered it and you've made your alcohol, get your strawberries, put them into the alcohol, and then the filtered makgeolli, put it in the fridge with the strawberries and let it sit, let it macerate for about 2 weeks, and then take it out and strain it. And then you've got a lovely light hinted strawberry makgeolli. You can do that with cherries. You can do that with any of your like fleshy fruits.
That sounds so good.
It's so good.
Okay, we're going to take another quick song break so our listeners can start sending in some more questions as well. So what we're going to do is, of course, do something that Julia saw a lot of when she first came to Korea. Dane! Cheers by Simon Dominic, and more of our Insiders coming up after this. We continue on with our Insider here on K-Poppin as we continue on with Arirang Radio. We're getting a lot of questions on ingredients to put in makgeolli. So we have a very beautiful lady who's listening to our YouTube live stream at the moment who said, I tasted cherry blossom scented makgeolli before just to kind of fit the season.
Very nice.
Because spring is in the air.
It is.
And I think that would be really great. So the strawberry, a lot of our listeners are asking if you've ever worked with honey. Because I feel like a lot of honey flavored whiskeys and stuff like that have become very popular.
Yes. And I will say that during fermentation, actually, makgeolli, the one thing that can happen a lot in terms of like off flavors that can come out, makgeolli can be pretty sour.
Right.
So there is, especially if you maybe had a hot summer or you're brewing in hot temperatures, that can make it sour. So you can adjust flavors. If it's too sour, you can sweeten it. And I have sweetened with honey. I've back sweetened with honey before because I like that better than sugar. It just adds a different element. But I gotta say, my favorite thing to sweeten is actually using fermented syrups, chong. like 매실청 or cherry or 오미자청. 오미자청 is lovely. But basically fermenting the syrups, fermenting the fruit, so you get a high concentrated sweet syrup, and then all you need is a couple of teaspoons of that to back sweeten it, and just add some depth and flavor that you wouldn't normally get. That's
Right.
nice.
Okay, we do have a game that I wanted to do, but before we do the game, I have a quick question. So years ago, I remember like it was an elder that I knew was kind of joking around and said, you know what differentiates the different alcohols? If you put a pot of rice wine, the very top is going to be 동동주, the middle is going to be 막걸리, and then if you distill that, that's going to be soju. Is that true?
Nope.
Okay. I was thinking when I was younger and I first heard that, I was like, oh, that sounds very interesting.
You're close, though. You're close. There is separation, but basically what happens is after you ferment and you filter, the first product is called 원주. So 원 comes from the word original, 원액, right? So that's your original base. If you put it in the fridge, it separates into two layers. So the top part becomes golden clear. That's 맑은술. That's 청주 or 약주. And that was the drink of the royal, kings and queens back in the day. And it's a beautiful drink all in of itself. So that's the separation part. The bottom part is the 탁한 술, the 탁한 part, which is cloudy. That's what we call 탁주. But basically, you can scoop off the 청주, and that leftover 탁주, you can add water to it. And that is 막걸리. 막걸리 literally translates as 막 걸렸다, which means I have freshly filtered. So I've just filtered it out. But you can distinguish it also as being a watered down product. So it's slightly lower in alcohol content. Now the 청주, if you take that away and distill it, that is soju.
That's so cool.
So it's all three different. So the separation was right. But 동동주, probably the most number one asked question is what is 동동주? How is 동동주 different? 동동주 is 막걸리 because it's a category of alcohol, but 동동주 is actually a recipe name. Back in the day, a lot of recipes would have a name next to the suffix 주 being alcohol.
Ju being alcohol.
Right? So my favorite recipe is actually called 석탄주. 석탄 sounds like I'm saying coal in modern Korean, but actually 석탄 means 아깝다 in the Hanja, which means regret. Which sounds weird to have it called regret alcohol, but it means it's so delicious that after I've swallowed it and it's gone, I feel regret that there's nothing else there.
Right. I want more. I want more. Yeah,
Beautiful recipe. So 동동주 can mean floating rice or floating ants. There's a lot of interpretations, but essentially it's the same category.
Just a different name of it.
Different style.
All right. I have a few quick questions because we really have to leave. But pairing, you talked about pairing earlier.
Yes.
When it comes to food pairing, I'm going to have you choose the ultimate Olympics for your choice.
The pressure.
Lamb skewers versus jerky, any type. 3, 2, 1.
Lamb skewers.
Okay, lamb skewers. Lamb skewers to dried squid and nuts. 3, 2, 1.
Lamb skewers.
Okay, lamb skewers to 양념갈비. 3, 2, 1.
Lamb skewers. I'm Australian.
Lamb skewers to 회. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, lamb skewers.
Lamb skewers to 장어구이.
Oh,
real deal. 3,
lamb
2, 1.
skewers. Lamb skewers.
Okay, it's gonna get harder.
Okay.
Lamb skewers to 파전. 3, 2, 1.
파전.
Now there we go. 파전 to 순대볶음. 3, 2, 1.
파전.
Okay, and last but not least, 파전 to chicken. 3, 2, 1.
Chicken. Chicken
For the win. So any type of chicken.
Anytime. I'm a big chicken girl. I love any kind of chicken. Chicken in all its forms. But yeah, you lead me with lamb skewers, and it's going to be a hard say no down the line.
It does sound like that.
Yeah.
Okay, Julie, I had so much fun learning about sur today.
Excellent.
1 hour was way too short.
That was only an hour.
So we can find more information, do classes and all this on your homepage. Am I correct?
Yes, you can. Yes, soulcompany.com homepage. But also, we're on every social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, all those places. But if anyone just wants to know something or is curious about Soul in any way, just shoot me an email, which is the Soul Company. Everything is thesoulcompany.com or Gmail. I love hearing people's questions, and I'm always here to get in touch.
All right. And with that, I might actually have to bring her back into the studio. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My absolute pleasure.
And this is a promise that we're going to meet outside of the studio.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Taking me out of the studio for today is going to be Soyo and Geeks on the track with Kyun and Bam, The Night. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place.